Torah Portion 43, Massel, Stages, Numbers 33:1 through 36:13. These are the stages in the journey of the people of Israel as they left the land of Egypt, divided into groups under the leadership of Moshe and Aaron. Moshe recorded each of the stages of their journey by order of Adonai. Here are the starting points of each stage. They began their journey from Ramses in the first month. On the 15th day of the first month, the morning after Pesach, the people of Israel left proudly in view of all the Egyptians. While the Egyptians were burying those among whom Adonai had killed all their firstborn, Adonai had also executed judgment on their gods. The people of Israel moved on from Ramses and camped at Sukkot. They moved on from Sukkot and camped at Etam, by the edge of the desert. They moved on from Etam and turned back to Pi Hacherot in front of Baal Zephon and camped before Migdol. They moved on from Pnei Hekrot and passed the sea to the desert, continued 3 days' journey into the Etam desert and camped at Marah. And they moved on from Marah and came to Elim. In Elim there were 12 springs, 70 palm trees, so they camped there. They moved on from Elim and camped at the Sea of Suf. They moved on from the Sea of Suf and camped in the Sin desert. They moved on from the Sin desert and camped at Dufka. They moved on from Dufka and camped at Alush. And they moved on from Alush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. They moved on from Rephidim and camped in the Sinai desert. They moved on from the Sinai desert and camped at Kivrat Hattava. They moved on from Kivrat Hattava and camped at Hazrot. They moved on from Hazrot and camped at Ritmah. They moved on from Ritmah and camped at Rimmon Peretz. They moved on from Rimmon Peretz and camped at Livnah. They moved on from Livnah and camped at Risha. They moved on from Risha and camped at Kehelah. They moved on from Kehelah and camped at Mount Sephir. They moved on from Mount Sephir and camped at Harada. They moved on from Harada and camped at Mekhelat. They moved on from Mekhelat and camped at Tekhat. They moved on from Tekhat and camped at Terash. They moved on from Terash and camped at Mikka. They moved on from Mikka and camped at Hashmana. They moved on from Hashmana and camped at Maseret. They moved on from Maseret and camped at Benai Ya'akan. They moved on from Benai Ya'akan and camped at Hor Haggidgad. They moved on from Hor Haggidgad and camped at Yotvatah. They moved on from Yotvatah and camped at Avronah. They moved on from Avronah and camped at Etzron Giver. They moved on from Etzron Giver and camped at the Zin desert, that is Kadesh. They moved on from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, at the border of the land of Edom. At Adonai's order, Aaron the Cohen went up on Mount Hor, and he died there, on the first day of the 5th month of the 40th year after the people of Israel had left the land of Egypt. Aaron was 123 years old, and he died on Mount Hor. The Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev in the land of Canaan, had heard that the people of Israel were coming, so they moved on from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmanah. They moved on from Zalmanah and camped at Punon. They moved on from Punon and camped at Ovat. They moved on from Ovat and camped at Yehavram, by the border of Moab. They moved on from Egim and camped at Divon-Gad. They moved on from Divon-Gad and camped at Almon Divlatium. They moved on from Almon Divlatium and camped at Avram Range, in front of Nevov. And they moved on from the Avram Range and camped in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Their camp by the Jordan extended from Bet ha-Yeshimot all the way to Avel ha-Shittim in the plains of Moab. Adonai spoke to Moshe on the plains of Moab by the Jordan, across from the land of Canaan. You are to expel all of the people living in the land from in front of you. Destroy all their stone figures, destroy all their metal statues, and demolish all their high places. Drive out the inhabitants of the land, and live in it, for I have given the land to you to possess. You will inherit the land by lot according to your families. You are to give more land to the larger families and less to the smaller ones. However, wherever the lot falls to any particular person, that will be his property. You will inherit according to the tribes of your ancestors. But if you don't drive out all the inhabitants of the land from in front of you, then those you allow to remain will become like thorns in your eyes and stings in your side, and they will harass you in the land where you are living. And in this event, I will do to you what I intended to do to them. Adonai told Moshe to give this order to the people of Israel. Whenever you enter the land of Canaan, it will become your land to pass on as an inheritance, the land of Canaan as defined by these borders. Your southern portion will extend from the Sin Desert, close to the border of Edom. The eastern terminus of your southern border is at the end of the Dead Sea. From there your border turns and goes south of the Akrabim ascent and passes on to Zin. From there it goes south of Kadesh Barnea on to Hatzar Adar and on Atzmon. Then the border turns and goes from Atzmon to the Valley of Egypt and along to its sea. Your western border will be the Great Sea. Your northern border will be as followed. From the Great Sea, mark a line to Mount Horar, and from Mount Horar, mark a line to the entrance of Hamat. The border goes out to Zedad. Then the border goes to Ziphron, and finally to Hatzar Enan. This is your northern border. For the eastern border, mark your line from Hatzar Enan to Shepham. Then the border goes down from Shaphan to Rivlah on the east side of Ain, then down until it hits the slope east of Lake Kinneret. From there it goes down the Jordan River till it flows into the Dead Sea. These will be the borders of your land. Moshe gave this order to the people of Israel. This is the land in which you will receive your inheritance by lot, which Adonai has ordered to give to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe. The tribe of the descendants of Reuben have already received their land for an inheritance according to their clans, and so have the descendants of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh. These 2.5 tribes have received their inheritance on the side of the Jordan across from Jericho and eastward towards sunrise. Adonai said to Moshe, "These are the names of the men who will take possession of the land for you: Eleazar the Cohen, and Yehoshua the son of Nun. Also appoint 1 leader from each tribe to take possession of the land. The names of the men are: from the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh; from the tribe of the descendants of Shimon, Shemuel the son of Ammihud; from the tribe of Benjamin, Eliad the son of Kishlon; from the tribe of the descendants of Dan, a leader, Buki the son of Yogli; from the descendants of Joseph; from the tribe of the descendants of Manasseh, a leader, Haniel the son of Ephod; from the tribe of the descendants of Ephraim, a leader, Chemiel the son of Shiftan; the tribe of the descendants from Zebulun, a leader, Elizaphan the son of Parnakah; and from the tribe of the descendants of Asher, a leader, Ashhud the son of Shlomi; and from the tribe of the descendants of Naphtali, a leader, Pedal the son of Ammihud. These are the ones whom Adonai had ordered to divide the inheritance among the people of Israel in the land of Canaan. In the plains of Moab, by the Jordan, across from the Jericho, Adonai said to Moshe, "Order the people of Israel to give the Livrim cities to live in from the heritage they will possess. You are also to give the Livrim some of the open land surrounding the cities. They are to have cities to live in, while their open land will be for their livestock, for growing crops, and for all their animals. The open land around the cities you give to the Livrim is to commence at the line drawn around the city wall, 1,500 feet outside it, and it is to extend outward from there, measure 3,000 feet outward from the city wall to the east, south, west, and north, the city in the center. The space between the 1,500-foot line and the 3,000-foot line will be their open land around the cities. The cities you give to the Livrim are to be the 6 cities of refuge to which you permit the person who kills someone to flee, plus an additional 42 cities. Thus you will give the Livrim 48 cities with their surrounding open land. As to the cities you will give from those the people of Israel possess, and from the many you will take And from the many you will take many, and from the few you will take few. Each tribe will contribute from its cities to the Levium in accordance with the size of its inheritance. Adonai said to Moshe, "Tell the people of Israel, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you are to designate for yourself cities that will be cities of refuge for you, to which anyone who kills someone by mistake can flee. These cities are to be a refuge for you from the dead person's next of kin, who might otherwise avenge his kinsman's death by slaying the killer prior to his standing trial before the community. In regard to the cities you are to give, there are to be 6 cities of refuge for you. You are to give 3 cities east of the Jordan, and 3 cities in the land of Canaan, and they will be cities of refuge. These 6 cities will serve as a refuge for the people of Israel, as well as for foreigners and resident aliens with them, so that anyone who kills someone by mistake may flee there. However, if he hits him with an iron implement, and thus causes his death, he is a murderer. The murderer must be put to death. If he hits him with a stone in his hand big enough to kill someone and he dies, he is a murderer, and the murderer must be put to death. Or if he hits him with a wood utensil in his hand capable of killing someone and he dies, he is a murderer, and the murderer must be put to death. The next of kin avenger is to put the murderer to death himself. Upon meeting him, he is to put him to death. Likewise, if he shoves him out of hatred, or intentionally throws something at him causing his death, or out of hostility strikes him with his hand so that he dies, then the one who struck him must be put to death. He is a murderer, and the next of kin avenger is to put the murderer to death upon meeting him. But suppose he shoves him suddenly but without hostility, or he throws something at him unintentionally, or without seeing him, being his enemy, or seeking to harm him, he throws a big stone, large enough to cause death, and the person dies. Then the community is to judge between the one who struck him and the next of kin in accordance with these rules, and the community is to save the killer from the next of kin avenger. The community is to return him to the city of refuge of which he fled, and he is to live there until the Kohen Haggadah, who was anointed with the holy oil, dies. But if the killer ever goes beyond the limits of the city of refuge he fled to, and the next of kin avenger finds him outside the limits of the city of refuge, and the avenger kills the killer, he will not be guilty of the man's blood, because he must stay in his city of refuge until the death of the Kohen Haggadah. After the death of the Kohen Haggadah, the killer may return to the land he owns. These things shall constitute your standard for judgment throughout all your generations wherever you live. If anyone kills someone, the murderer is to be put to death upon the testimony of the witnesses. But the testimony of only one witness will not suffice to cause a person to be put to death. Also, you are not to accept a ransom in lieu of the life of a murderer condemned to death. Rather, he must be put to death. Likewise, you are not to accept for someone who has fled to his city of refuge a ransom that would allow him to return to his land before the death of the Kohen. In this way you will not defile the land in which you are living, for blood defiles the land, and in this land no atonement can be made for the blood shed in it except the blood of him who shed it. No, you are not to defile the land in which you live, and in which I live, for I, Adonai, live among the people of Israel. The leaders of the clans of the families of the descendants of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, the families of the descendants of Joseph, approached and addressed Moshe and the leaders, the heads of the clan of the people of Israel, and said, Adonai ordered my Lord to give by lot the land to be inherited by the people of Israel. My Lord has ordered by Adonai to give the inheritance to our kinsman Zelophehad to his daughters. But if they get married to anyone belonging to another of the tribes of the people of Israel, then their inheritance will be taken away from the inheritance of our ancestors and be added to the inheritance of the tribe that they will then belong to. Thus it will be taken away from the sum total of our inheritance. And when the Yovel of the people of Israel comes, their inheritance will be added to the land possessed by the tribes they will then belong to, and then subtracted from the inheritance belonging to the tribe of our ancestors. Moshe gave this order to the people of Israel, in keeping with the word of Adonai. The tribe of the descendants of Joseph is right in what it says. Here is what Adonai has ordered concerning the daughters of Zelophehad. Let them be married to whomever they think is best, but they must marry only into a family from their father's tribe. In this way, no inheritance of the people of Israel will move from one tribe to another, for each of the people of Israel is to hold on to the land for an inheritance belonging to his father's tribe. Every daughter who possesses an inheritance in any tribe of the people of Israel is to become the wife of someone from the family of her father's tribe, so that every one of the people of Israel will stay in possession of his ancestors' inheritance. Thus no inheritance will move from one tribe to another, for each of the tribes of the people of Israel will hold on to its own inheritance. The daughters of Zelophehad did as Adonai had ordered. Moshe, Malach, Titzrah, Hagla, Miklah, and Noah all got married to sons of their father's brothers, and they were married into the families of the descendants of Manasseh the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of their father's family. This is the mikvah and ruling of Adonai given through Moshe to the people of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho.